Hello there, jigyasu. Right then, let's go. Nowadays, traditional schooling is obsolete, underactive, and restricted. So what's the problem here? Tense and restricts. What's the other error here? A child's abilities. A child's, okay? Singular. To some extent. Okay. From my perspective, traditional schooling is not effective. So we've got a comparison here. Okay. So how do we make a comparison? I think I've asked you before to give me 5 sentences studying. Actually, studying. I wanted you to study comparative sentences and then write me 5 sentences of comparisons to master it. Yeah. From my perspective, traditional schooling is not more effective than practical knowledge. This essay will analyse with suitable examples the impact of traditional education on young one's capabilities alongside with various alternatives of traditional education. Good. First of all, traditional schooling does not play the significant role in enhancing the cognitive abilities of young ones. Good. Secondly, instead acquiring important knowledge, outdated knowledge is being provided to a young generation. This is due to the fact that obsolete technology has been operating for many decades. For example, recent research by ERA, it stands for Educational Research Association, showed that only 20% of children boost their skills and creativity through traditional schooling. All in all, the traditional education system is not an appropriate selection to be adopted in our academic system. Wow, excellent, very good work, very good work. Crystal clear argument. Hardly any grammar errors. Very good, very good. Elaborate and eloquent as well. So well done there. Good work. Moreover, okay, I am maybe a little bit scared about word count. Yep, it's way over, okay? We cannot have essays that are 300 words, okay? And the reason you're over, or one of the reasons you're over, is because you've got too many arguments in your body paragraph, okay? So make sure you're following the sentence guide, all right? And just keep it tight. Once again, I think we've done the same here. So also, this needs to be cut down. So if you send me another essay that's over 260, I'll send it straight back and say, reduce the word count, okay? So one of the ways we reduce the word count is just getting to the point and reducing anything that's not necessary. So in this case, it would be the additional arguments. Moreover, traditional schooling does not contribute much in flourishing children's careers. Okay, children is plural. Careers should be plural as well. On the contrary, there are numerous alternatives of traditional school that have been found by professionals. These alternatives are sufficient to recognize children's potential and strengths. Good. Furthermore, online technology has improved the educational system and also provides facilities to study from any part of the world. Good. For example, a study by the University of Columbia, or even better, for example, a study by Columbia University shows that since children are more encouraged to use technology or various substitutions, 80% of young ones are competent to prosper in their future. That doesn't make much sense. Feel more competent and thus prosper. That would need to be rephrased. Children are more encouraged to okay, since children are more... Okay. For example, a study by Columbia University shows that children who are encouraged... Make it specific. You're saying since children, in general, every single child in the world are more encouraged to use technology, which that's not accurate, is it? Okay. Since children shows that children who are encouraged to use technology or various substitutions are 80% more likely to be successful in their chosen career or something, okay? But we need to make it much more specific. Consequently, it would be advantageous for every child to utilize updated technology rather than studying using traditional school systems. If you say rather than being studied, by traditional school systems, it means that the students are being studied by the traditional ones. Okay, it doesn't mean that they're using the traditional school system. So that needs to be clarified. Let's go. In conclusion, despite numerous, another sentence that needs to be mastered is despite. Conclusion, despite numerous substitutions of traditional schools. Okay. In conclusion, despite numerous alternatives, traditional school systems still survive in society, or has still survived in society for many decades. Okay? So can you see how I rephrased this sentence to say the same but used considerably less words? And that's why we need to work on your word count. Okay? Traditional school education system is not effective because it is not useful for children to be taught by professionals who are not updated and not well qualified. Okay, so one thing we do need to work on is negative constructions. What could we say is the not well qualified? We say underqualified. Updated and not updated, we could say outdated. Okay, and these are ways that it is a useless idea, not useful, it's useless or inutile. I know. But anyway, what I'm saying is we can also use negative verbs instead of negative constructions. Okay? It is predicted that contemporary education systems will be adapted by every child for a younger generation and the country's betterment. Good. No capital C. So, lots of work to do, especially with word count and negative constructions. Okay? So, study those things and look at the final chapters in the sentence guide to learn more about that. The pie charts to depict. Let me just do a word count. Oh dear, oops. That's okay, 209 words, way over the word limit, 150, alright? The pie charts to be council expenditure for 6 different sectors by 3 regions in the UK in 2014. Good. The maximum amount was spent on leisure by Yorkshire, which was almost similar to expenditure on education, which accounted for slightly more than 1/4 of the total outlay. Okay. Whereas, was it 1/4 or 1/4? Check that. Whereas, merely, no. Merely below, no. If you want, write 5 sentences with merely. Whereas slightly below than 25% of the total expenditure was spent on social services and community care in Yorkshire. Okay, so that's another sentence that we need to master, whereas. Write me 5 sentences with whereas. However, a little proportion of money was spent on surroundings. No, was spent on. There's nothing in the chat that says surroundings, so we can't put it in. Okay, we need to put something else. We spent on social services and other areas of Yorkshire. Okay, so that needs to be rewritten and try to avoid using however. Okay. A small proportion of money was spent on social services and other areas, comma, or even better, for Yorkshire. For Yorkshire, a small proportion of money. We can't put Yorkshire at the end because it means other areas of Yorkshire, which might mean South Yorkshire, West Yorkshire. Okay, so regarding Yorkshire, a small proportion of money was spent on the other sectors of social services and others, comma, which was about 10% and 8% respectively. Okay. On the other side, Derbyshire and Lancashire spent less capital than the half of the total. That doesn't make sense, so that needs to be rephrased. Okay. What I'd strongly recommend doing is copying out a lot of sample task 1 essays. Copy them out, word for word, pen and paper. Okay, we need to work on this. Moreover, expenditure by Derbyshire on education was about 25%, which was almost double the expenditure on environment and other areas. Okay, good sentence. On the contrary, no. Start with the subject. Okay, Derbyshire allocated 30% of its expenditure to education, whereas Lancashire spent similar amounts of money on community care, social services and the environment. Good. Okay, so for the summary it needs to be much, much shorter. Yep. Overall, Yorkshire and Lancashire had similar patterns regarding education and leisure, whereas Derbyshire spent the most on leisure. The other sectors were roughly similar. The other sectors, were broadly similar, with the smallest section being social services for Derbyshire. Okay, so what we did is we noticed the smallest and the largest and the similarities. That's the kind of brief overview we want to give. Okay, so you know what to do. Implement all the corrections, make a list of the mistakes, update their error list, send me the error list, send me the corrected essays, and then write me 2 new essays, check them for mistakes, include the sentences that I've asked for, and then reduce the word count if necessary. Otherwise, I'll send it straight back. Okay, you're doing really well. Let's keep on going. Very impressed, and I want you to carry on improving, okay?